You are living in the most dangerous time in American history.
We won't take a single back step.
Former professional basketball player is now the Republican Party's choice.
Can you imagine Royce White, the U.S. Senate?
White won the endorsement on May 18th with 67% of the vote.
There's nothing that guarantees we win, but I guarantee you if we lose, we will die. I had to go and get my MAGA hat, make sure everybody realizes we're not running from the line here. Let's talk about this stuff.
The line's getting a little hard to perceive.
Yeah, not so much. The line's pretty clear on my end.
I know, but for people generally speaking, because there's so much change, it's getting hard to see.
For sure.
Okay, that's a good place to start talking.
Well, so much is going on in Minnesota since we did HEBROES last. I guess we should probably start with the most recent event and work our way back.
You mean the shooting last night, or we're going to go back before that?
Well, I mean the ICE situation in Minneapolis in general, or Minnesota in general. I guess ICE is a good place to start. I was at the Carver County Republican U.S. Senate Forum last night, and my basic my message to them was a message that I think the Republican Party and the MAGA and America First movement need to shout from the rooftops to all American citizens right now is we have to deal with the basics. We have to get back to the fundamentals, and we have to sort out the fundamentals of our political philosophy as citizens. And it's not by accident. It's not a coincidence that some of these fundamentals, some of these ideas have been stripped from the culture through the academic institutions and by way of the entire citizenry. Like, is being a citizen even important? What is it? First of all, what does it mean to be a citizen? What are the prerequisites of citizenship? And is citizenship something that we value? It seems like the mainstream media and cooperating, or let's say conspiring, academic institutions and thought leaders have successfully spread an idea that citizenship no longer has any value. Citizenship is not important or shouldn't be a core tenet of how we view the world or our country politically.
Why do you say that? I mean, in what regard?
I'm just watching the entire narrative about, ICE and illegal immigration. And number one, it's night and day from what even Democrats said 10 years back, even 20 years back. You had Clinton, you had Obama, you had Hillary, you had Chuck Schumer.
Well, that's why you've been playing those
these
in
very
your X feed.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, so you're saying what changed here?
All of these very prominent
Doctrinaire
Democrats had a completely contradictory view to the basic tenets of border security and immigration, and by way of citizenship.
And in fact, it was linked. It was linked at that time to an economic nationalism. It was. They actually held the economic nationalist high ground at that time.
Right.
What changed? Was it always a front?
Well, I mean, before we even go there, again, the fundamentals. I'm watching the conversation unfold with people on social media.
Okay.
In the community, people that I know personally.
Okay.
And there's two things working at the same time. One is people are desperate to be a part of something bigger than themselves because our individual lives have been stripped of so much meaning. People are desperate to be attached to something that they perceive to be culturally, significant, a mission of sorts, a purpose in their life that's bigger than themselves, mostly because our society has conditioned people to be so self-centered and so selfish just in their own personal psychology that I think naturally Uh,
Are we talking about a certain age cohort here?
now, everybody.
Everybody.
That people are desperate to have meaning in their lives, and that manifests in trying to be a part of something that seems to benefit a collective, which is exasperated because people are becoming more and more self-centered, mostly due to social media. I will say that the rise of technology and the social media are creating self-centered individuals. So it becomes easy now to draft them, to recruit them into a pseudo-intellectual collective movement. Like, for some strange reason, people actually are buying into this mainstream media narrative that America should be the only country in the entire world without a border, that we should be the only country in the entire world that is open for anybody to come live in, that pleases or that
And
chooses.
what's the benefit? I mean, what's the pitch? Is it a spiritual?
The benefit and this is what I'm saying, the benefit for these individual people are that they get to pretend they are involved in something humanitarian, altruistic, when in their lives they are
Okay.
deeply. So, this is a very prominent Christian thought about vice, and this is why you see people who have dysfunction in two of the three main vices end up projecting all of their focus and energy onto the third vice. So the three main vices are food, substances, right, and sex. Those are the three main vices of the human condition. And so you'll see when people have dysfunction or disproportionate use in, or let's say they have lack of temperance or control in their sexual vices and in their substance vices, they end up becoming vegan. Or you can mix any one of those, two or three. Usually people have a disproportionate problem in two of the three vices, so you see them project everything onto the third. It's the same thing here with selfishness versus now we have this collective movement that we can jump onto. And every time there's a crisis, the communists, the Marxists, the liberals, the globalists, all of these people who have a much bigger global agenda recruit these unbeknownst, psychologically desperate people,
Vulnerable people.
into their movement, and it's a fake movement.
It sounds like a mind control.
It's
almost.
100%. I mean, it's not even justifiable, and it's really strange to watch.
So it's magic. What we're talking
Yeah.
about is kind of a magical creation of a group energy, parasitizing vulnerable people who have been made vulnerable by stripping the meaning of their lives and then replacing in the place of meaning vice, which is sin, and then manipulating them with their sin. That what we're saying?
It's strange to watch. It's unsettling. Like
It's unsettling to hear you talk about it. But I saw this yesterday. I was talking to a young man, and we were talking about ICE.
Mhm.
And it was a fairly rational conversation. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of it, he broke into it. He said, "This isn't a Christian thing." And I thought, boy, why is he saying that? And now you've explained it. I don't spend enough time with people. I saw it just yesterday. And I thought, boy, that's a weird. And I
That's
said,
a weird thing to say.
and I said, well, I'm walking by.
Well, no,
this.
well, actually, there are Christian scriptures that speak of treating travelers and foreigners and treating people, neighbors with kindness and an open heart and being giving. Uh, but there are also scriptures that support the idea of nations as a fundamental idea. Obviously, Israel being one of them, and I don't mean the modern day Israel, but I mean in the time of Israel, King David, obviously his kingdom or the kingdom of Israel was ordained by God, and in the Bible it actually says that all nations are in some way ordained by God, and so nationhood itself is supported in Christian scripture as well. And having strong nations and strong borders, there were plenty of times in the Bible where God gave a righteous, you know, intervention, a divine intervention, a righteous mission for a nation to defend its border against intruders, against invaders. So, both things are supported. Even the Christian community that would go to that point, it's like, okay, there are other Christian nations as well. What are they suggesting? That there should be no borders, that borders themselves are fundamentally useless. And it's just such a flaw of basic first principles. Like, first of all, it's naive about the human condition, because no if there was no importance to borders or jurisdictions, then why do we have counties? Why do we have states? Why do we have city limits? Why do we have neighborhood limits? I
Well,
mean,
right.
if you broke your map all the way down to the most granular level, your block of your home is located in a jurisdiction of a governing municipality that has a function logistically. Without it, there would be chaos. Now, you can make the argument, I think it'd be a very bad argument, that none of that is necessary. But the key here, and I say this again to reiterate a point I made in the PBS interview, you can't have it both ways. You can't say we want the infinite expansion of the federal government, but we want that federal government to govern over nothing, no jurisdiction.
Well, that's rather philosophical.
Well, I mean, is it really?
It is.
Well, yeah, for this time.
It brings up a contradiction.
Yes.
It brings
No,
up
but my point is, contradiction is at the beating heart of the decay of our society. It is the contradiction that is the epicenter of the cultural rot we see. It's not fascism, it's not racism. It can be those things as well, but it's the contradiction in our own thought process, our own philosophy about life. It's like, again, my life is meaningless. I'm searching for validation in this new digital world where they've by all means been predatory in making me addicted to game theory and slot machine user experience. So I'm basically sitting at the slot machines. I'm basically sitting at the penny slots when I'm on social media all day. Really.
That's fantastic.
Uh, and it's super loaded with sexual content, so the sexual vice is baked into the casino. It's what you're doing. You're pulling the penny slots all day, and you're waiting for things that reinforce your sexual vices or your need for superficial gossip and meaningless, vicarious life. And so you find yourself with no meaning, and then here comes this political machine feeding you this propaganda that now illegal immigration is the new political movement you need to jump on board for to satisfy your need for purpose, your need as a human being or even a Christian to support a collective for something greater than yourself. They're actually using the Christ sacrifice. They're actually using the righteousness of sacrifice, self-sacrifice, to prop up a fake movement.
Well, I hope everybody got that out there in Radio Land. That was quite intense. What you're saying is you're diagnosing the sickness of our time and talking about how that sickness is being exploited for political gain by a small group of operators who, for whatever reason, lineage, hard work, they know a lot more than other people, and they have no problem taking advantage of them. That's what you're saying, that we're being parasitized by a group of smarter people who have no scruples, no morals, no principles, other than the maintenance and the growth of their own power and prestige.
Well, absolutely. But that's since time immemorial. I'm more disappointed in people than I am the power. I'm more disappointed in the individual people. And I think we got to get back down to that. Again, at the end of the day, I could name all the bad actors. I could name all the bad hombres. We could go right down the list. But at some point,
We have to be responsible for this, each one of us.
if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. If you don't have a country, you don't have citizenship. If you don't have citizenship, you don't have rights. Human rights, civil rights, women's rights, gay rights, or any other kind of rights. So the question is, do we even value rights? And then the contradiction is we say we value rights when we want to get rid of illegal immigrants, but we don't even value we don't even value our own rights enough to maintain the very functions and pillars that make rights a thing. It's one of the most bizarre. I mean, it really is, to the point where uh, it keeps me up at night, and when I finally do get to sleep, it's restless, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm very pessimistic about the uh, overall locale of intelligence and basic interaction, psychological, our psychological well-being as a nation and as the human species. I mean, we are at a critical juncture when you can't. And then it's like, well, that's really philosophical, Royce. Is it? Is being a citizen important or not? Because if being a citizen isn't important, you can't let everybody else.
That part's foundational to the republic.
Yes, it's even foundational just to our. Let's take the old philosophical terms out of it. It's just basic to the way they say and think they want to live today. They're not. People aren't even able to connect the things they like about American life, their everyday life today, to these fundamental ideas, and how without them, their life would be very different. I mean, it's just like the phenomenon of progressive left feminists finding alignment with radical Islam and Sharia law. You wouldn't even have the liberties that you say you're fighting for in the countries that hold this ideology supreme. And that, in my opinion, the one thing that we can rightfully identify as being conspiracy is that we didn't get this way this quick on our own. That much is true. There are spiritual forces at work, but there was a coordinated social engineering operation that's taken place, and it's reached a critical juncture, and I think it's wildly more successful than the people who initiated it could have ever imagined, and that's because the spiritual the spiritual war that undergirds it was much is much greater than they could have known. Why? Because they were atheists. A lot of these people who talked about secular humanism, and then it morphed into, communism, and then communism should be the highest form of government because we don't believe in God, and if we don't believe in God, then obviously women should rule. And all of a sudden, we find ourselves in this strange place where this woman, Renee Good's wife, had her children taken from her, allegedly because she was burning them with cigarettes. Did you hear that?
I heard it.
Now, I don't know if it's true or not, and people can lie on parents about abuse, but I got a spanking, and it was a little aggressive. It was a little too much. Hey, my dad came home and slapped me across the face, and I ended up with a black eye or a welt. And then I'm burning my fucking child with cigarettes. I mean, and one of them, two of them are, okay, shit happens. The third is demonic. You understand? And why do we think it coincidence that people who are at the cross section of some of the most controversial
crossroad,
the most controversial events in our society are always tied to some crazy shit like this? It's metaphysical, is what I'm saying.
For those that don't know it, that are in your audience, that happened 3 minutes from George Floyd Square.
Right.
At precisely the moment that Representative Kristen Robbins and Marion Rarick and Walter Hudson were in the D.C. chambers of the Congress.
Right.
And we're talking about the fraud. They were they'd come to talk to a committee about what was happening here in Minnesota. And right at that moment, how could it be that, the drums were rolling and the trumpets were blowing, and all of a sudden, that is no longer the story of the day. It was replaced at the crossroads. And here we are now with a completely different story going on, dominating everything. And what was the biggest story, it's off the front page. But I go back to Donald Trump, the great unmasker. You've heard me call him that many times, right?
Turn that mic towards you a little bit.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
there you go. He's unmasking now. He's unmasking this for everybody to see.
Yeah, but their hatred of President Trump, and again, we've been critical of some of President Trump's actions. I think hemispheric strategy is brilliant. It's prudent. It makes sense. And all of these, and we'll talk about this in a moment, because I think there's something growing on the left that's just as pernicious, and it involves Thomas Massey and some of these types. And just as a preview, I like Thomas Massey. I think that a lot of what he's saying is correct. I think it's obvious that it's correct. I love his debt clock. I'm as big of a debt hawk as he is, so much so I'm jealous of the debt clock. I want one. We got to see if I can get one made, because I want to wear one around too. But I just can't square how Thomas Massey tells the American people that AIPAC is running the Congress, or that AIPAC has disproportionate influence of the Congress, or that the United States Congress is over 95% captured by AIPAC, and then tell the commander-in-chief or American citizens we should look to that same Congress for permission to do anything, much less defend our nation or take military action. See, these are the kind of contradictions we have to sort out, and we need to sort them out right fucking now.
That's kind of a great one, isn't it?
You tell me. What do you think?
Let's go back.
Let's listen to the Christian Jew here and what you perceive there.
Well, I think that I'm trying to stay focused on what's important to me. I like Thomas Massey too, and I think a lot of what he says is true.
Yeah.
I also say to myself, Rand Paul and Thomas Massey coming from the same state. Can you please explain this to me? We should go on down there and see what's going on.
No, the greater contradiction is that somehow
Mitch McConnell is there.
Mitch McConnell comes. Which voter? No, tell me.
I don't get it.
Tell me which Kentucky voter has such a broad spectrum political philosophy and worldview that they vote for Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, and Mitch McConnell.
Sounds like the whole country. I'm sorry. We have contradictions working here.
I don't think so. In that instance,
Are you trying to say that?
conspicuous.
Are you saying that they're the same guy?
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, you're saying who could vote for
Again,
that
I put the onus back on the people.
Who can vote for all these people?
Who votes? Okay, you could say Rand Paul and Thomas Massey are of the same variety to an extent, but
Mitch
McConnell is so diametrically opposed in his political career, let alone the results. Who is the Kentucky voter that votes for those diametrical oppositions on the same side of the political aisle? It's conspicuous, right? And that's one of the canaries in the coal mine, and it really is one of the most glaring ones in the whole country. Because Thomas Massey has become such a prominent political figure as of late, and because Rand Paul is kind of, running some opposition to President Trump in some ways. And also, Rand Paul did put up, to pass the Doge cuts to foreign aid, and there were a bunch of Republicans that didn't want to, which says a lot as well. So I'm not saying Rand's the only guy who's in question. I'm definitely not going to play that game. Lindsey Graham should have never been endorsed. My point is, that's one of those contradictions in American political culture that people don't even want to touch for some reason. And it's not lost on me that people don't want to touch it. And it's across society. It's not Republican politics. The source code of our chaos is contradiction. And this is a very Christian idea, a very Christian theological idea that God is truth. God is truth, and contradiction can't exist, where there's truth, or the truth can't exist where there's contradiction. And, the two are sort of inextricably linked. We have so much contradiction baked into our society, let alone our spirit. It's profound. The Massey one's a good example. It's like, dude, don't be telling me that you're America first. AIPAC has 95% control of the United States Congress, but we should ask them to take military action to defend our nation. That's Israel first, dude. You think I'm fucking stupid? No disrespect to you, sir, but do you think I'm fucking dumb? And better question is, do I think you're fucking dumb?
I think.
No, wait a second. No,
that's a very important
yes.
point.
Wait a second. No, I do not think
Okay.
Thomas Massey is dumb.
Next step, please.
If you're not dumb,
What are you?
what are you?
That's correct.
Right. Okay. So, and even furthermore, what the fuck is going on here?
Okay.
Right. But let's set
We agree about this.
Let's set that aside, though.
I'm going back to say I don't spend a lot of time thinking about Thomas Massey.
Yeah.
Because if we don't get the answer to that question, we're just
What
making
the
up a
fuck
story.
is going on
We're
here?
making up a story.
Right. And I even look at it with this ICE situation, and I go, most important thing in the country right now, I said it last night, most important thing in the country right now is to deport every single illegal immigrant that came across that border during the Joe Biden administration. Because if we don't, we still don't have a border. If your border is violated, it's just like the idea of justice. Justice has to be restored. If a crime has gone unpunished, then justice can be restored. And justice is not some esoteric, philosophical, cathartic idea. Justice is necessary in a society. You can go all the way back to the earliest days of Western philosophy and Aristotelian thought. Justice is necessary in a society. If those illegal immigrants aren't removed from this country, we have a breakdown of justice in our society, in our nation. But I even look at this situation and say, if ICE, and I say this with all due respect, because I know it's not an easy thing to do. It's a hard mission it's a hard task to complete. But if they arrest citizens, they better let them go in a timely manner, and there better be full apologies, and there better be some form of restitution. And see, I don't even think the Republicans and the MAGA or America First movement, ICE is now going to become the second iteration of the right's impulse to trade their freedom for the security of a military-industrial complex and a police state. And the people who are, let's say, carrying out the agenda of the metaphysical and spiritual forces on both sides are pushing us right into the same sort of shooting gallery as free people and citizens. It's like, I fear the rise of a police state. And when we first said that we have to deport every illegal immigrant, we said the danger there is that we erect an institution or agency and give them so much broad power, we can never get it back. And if our enemies, the Democrats in this instance, or let's say more accurately, communists and globalists, if they get control of that institution after they're able to get President Trump and Republicans out of government, then it'll be turned on us. It'll be used against us. And I remember the scent of authoritarianism during the pandemic. And I know if an agency like ICE existed, that we were very close to having people who refused to be vaccinated or talked about Wuhan lab theories or gain of function. We were very close to them being rounded up. We were already being censored. We were already being outcast.
That sentiment is not gone.
That sentiment is not gone.
Left.
Oh, no.
I was just listening to a senator just this morning talking about now the issues coalesced around Secretary Kennedy.
Right.
It's the same battle. I mean, they're trying to get this guy because he is part of the great unmasker.
He's taking an axe to the whole scam.
He is.
Yeah.
And so they're doubling down.
And you could make a strong argument that all of this shit, and I mean all of this shit, is meant to be a distraction from the fucking axe that RFK Jr. is taking to the industrial complex of this country.
Well, I will certainly hope so. I'm certainly hoping that you're correct.
But look at how many people on the left are even refuse. I mean, you have three groups of people. You have Americans who feel something's wrong and want something right. You have people on the far left who are ideologues, and you have people on the far right who, in my opinion, and I don't mean the far right as in what they can temporarily say is the far right. I mean, you have people over on the right somewhere, whether they be far to the right or right of center. You have these people on the right who, by all measures, are controlled opposition. And there are some right of center, just right of center, and there are some who are far right of center. But on the right, there are forms of controlled opposition, and the people in the middle are at a strategic disadvantage because it's so easy to get pulled one way or the other with the polarization. In the polarization, I mean, I'm watching people who I know personally have good fucking sense, have common sense. These are people who you could call, any day of the week and have a conversation with, and on 9 out of 10 issues are going to come to the same conclusion as you or I. Should we be transitioning kids in school without parents' knowledge or consent? No. Should people be able to just come into our country and live and get social services who aren't citizens? No. Should we be involved in a war a world away while people here suffer? No. Should elections be secure? Yes. Should we listen to these politicians who we know are puppets and paid by people who don't have our best interests? No, you can't ever believe the media. You can't ever believe politicians. So people will agree with you on 9 out of 10 of these issues, but there's something more desperate in us, spiritually and psychologically, that is easily grafted onto these fake political movements and moments. And I recognize it because I was drawn to it during the 2020 George Floyd situation. And so, my gripe with the system was much more informed than your average person, which is why I led people to the Fed instead of the police precinct, right? But even I, as a citizen, and I think many of us as citizens, have that impulse to join together and buck the system because we know how wrong it really is. And the scam is huge and profound. But the boomerang effect to that is, do we really believe we can, and are we even interested in sacrificing our own personal enjoyment of the fruit of the system in order to actually change it? Or are we just in a sort of
on the payroll?
Are we in a roundabout theater where we, hit the streets because people are being rounded up by ICE, and then we go back home and we do cocaine, and we listen to the 15-second social media reel that makes us feel like we're doing something good and humanitarian, only to go back and work for the federal government? I mean, these people work for the government. A lot of these people work for the very system. Not only do they...
Oh, the ones that are protesting?
Yes.
I've seen it too. I'm thinking to myself.
They work for the federal... They
talk about contradiction, right?
Oh,
that's just like...
You understand what I'm saying about contradiction?
There's been a school of thought, and I just have to ask you this, because it goes down this road.
Yeah.
This is a little esoteric, but that kind of contradiction, which is really about lying to yourself. I mean, let's just be frank about it. Right. I was using the word last night on the podcast, and I knew it was a terrible word. I was saying pretzel. We're pretzeled. We're pretzeled up. And I thought, yeah, that sucks. Now you give me a new word, contradiction. But really, pushing it to its logical conclusion, it's lying to yourself, and people are expert at it.
Yes.
And it's terrifying. And when you see it, it's actually scary.
It's disturbing.
It is, because I don't do it. I mean, you can't work your way out of addiction to sin if you lie about the sin itself. You're trapped. Just not dealing with reality. So,
and I even want to strip it from the Christian and religious.
I'm not being Christian and
religious.
No,
I'm just saying I want to strip it from the Christian and religious, because that's the easy default to take an entire section of the country and separate them from the reality of the conversation. Not in my opinion, not in my belief as a Christian, but for them.
For who them? Who are we talking about?
For a good portion of people on the left who don't believe in God. They once you say sin, they detach themselves from what logical reality they hold themselves. It's just like I said.
They don't want to talk to you when you start talking like that?
Yes,
is that what you're saying?
It's so weaponized. It's like Christianity. It's the same. The left did it. Christianity is the real threat, and white Christian men are the real threat of extremism in this country. Okay, well then tell me why everybody's so invested in Renee Good being a martyr. You wouldn't have an idea of martyrdom if it wasn't for Jesus Christ and the Hebrew Bible. Let's be clear. Western society wouldn't even have an idea.
I'm going to tell you, everybody out there in Radioland, that every once in a while when I'm hanging around with Royce, something profound pops up.
Every
That
once in a
is-
while?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm on pretty good myself. So,
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Good point. All
But
right.
I'm just
Touche.
saying this one is really a profound thing we all need to think about.
Yeah.
Because if I understand what you're saying, without the martyrdom of Christ and the disciples, it'd just be human inventory being plowed into the ground.
Right,
Wouldn't even matter. Wouldn't even matter.
right. Jesus Christ was the first archetype in the history of human civilization where self-sacrifice had a metaphysical and perpetual meaning. There were martyrs before. There were people who died for a cause.
We don't remember their names.
We do remember some
of them.
But the point is that for Western society, or for modern society even, Christ was the first time where both sacrificing or laying down your life in a heroic fashion had a perpetual meaning into the future. So, the secular humanists who have now become the progressive left fancy themselves martyr without the reward. And that's a strange.
Well, that's the same reason why they're saying it's Christian. It is the Christian thing with the
Right.
with the immigrants, newcomers.
Right, but here's the thing. This is really fucking spooky. Okay. The reward of the martyrdom has to come in life. You understand?
Right.
The reward of the martyrdom is the ongoing political existence or movement, which is destined to fail because of the contradiction. That's what they don't realize is, yeah, you can prop Renee Good up as a martyr for this cause of human and civil rights, or let's say general decency towards our neighbors, or people who don't live here or who aren't citizens, undocumented individuals, whatever the hell they want to call them. You can prop Renee Good up as a martyr for that movement in that fight, and you can say power to the people. But the power doesn't go to the people unless the people actually get off of the addiction to the system. And they're not willing to do that.
That's a contradiction.
It's a fundamental contradiction so profound.
Like, why even out there?
No, and that, again, like I asked, like I asked Mr. Massey, okay, who are you? If you're not this, then who are you? It's the same question that goes to every leftist that's out there in the streets. And this is what I said earlier on X. We got to understand. There are people out there with real political points of view that have merit. Like, the corporate elites in America are crushing us. We agree with a lot of people on the left to that effect. There are people out there who are simply nihilistic, who have unfulfilled, superficial, and materialistic visions of their own life. And they will burn this country to the ground because they will burn themselves in their own life, in their unhappiness, in their anger, in their hatred.
This is the scary thing you want to share with me.
Yes.
And how big in this protest population, from an anecdotal overview, would you say?
80%.
What?
80% of them. There are pockets, and I know this from experience. This isn't conjecture. I was out there. But see, and this is the counter profound thing about Christianity and leadership. There's a counter profundity to this, this phenomenon. Is when I marched people to the front door of the Fed and I started to talk about the way that money works, I was able to command and hold people's attention for a short while. And I was able to diffuse. People don't even realize how significant the peaceful demonstrations I led after George Floyd died really are, because we were at the same flashpoint here in Minnesota and around the country then that we are today. The difference is people like me aren't stepping up down in Minneapolis to lead people back to or to corral the psyop back to reality. It's to say, yeah, I know you have grievances. I know you've been fucked over. I know you said the system is guilty. And yes, the system is guilty. You don't even know how guilty it really is.
Follow me.
Follow me.
We're going to the Fed.
Put fist up.
But you know why they
Fist up.
You know what?
Fist up.
Wait a sec.
And see people, and this is where the Republicans and the conservatives are so corny.
Yes, they have been.
They're corny.
They don't understand the whole process of the human will. They don't understand what
That's
happened.
right.
So they want to. Hey, it's easy to blame what you don't understand.
They want to shortchange it and blend everything together and say, "Oh, Royce was walking with BLM." No, I was doing just like, and without comparing myself to Christ. There's not a Christ complex, obviously, but people like Christ who have had to lead the very individuals who are the most sick and in need of change of heart and mind.
You kept them from going over the cliff.
They 20,000 came out. Wait a second. 20,000 people came out that day. If I and several other friends of mine, and I call them friends loosely, and I say that seriously because, relationships change, but they were there that day. I give them the credit where it's due. But friends of mine, black men, all black men, willing to stand up and say, we're going to demonstrate today, but we're going to do it peacefully. We're not going to burn our own city to the ground. That's not American. That's not being a citizen. Even if they didn't know those words to use, that was the spirit. And there is a catharsis to that because, again, there are dire problems with the system. There are tons of grievances of merit from the people.
Didn't you have
But the
ritual?
answer is not anarchy.
Didn't you have a ritual in front of the Fed where people laid down and prostrated?
Yeah, we did a die-in.
A die-in.
Yeah.
You know what's so contradictory about this? And I'm sorry to bring it up like this,
Yeah.
and you're going to agree with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to play on next week's podcast. I've been collecting Fed governor after Fed governor, from Greenspan to Powell to the local Kashkari. They all say the same thing. You know what they say? Daddy can print unlimited money.
Yeah, of course they do.
And that's the contradiction of the whole thing, of everybody going there. That's what they're addicted to. I mean, that is the core of the addiction. That's the core of the contradiction. System, nobody really wants to change the system. That's the system has to go. And do people know that banking system is 500 years old? That that's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. But if we don't get to that, if we don't get to the money, and that's really about being self-governing, if we don't get off that system, we lose our ability to be free. That the system has no problem expanding into the void of self-governance that we're living behind in this kind of this dystopian world you're describing, Royce. You're describing a very dystopian culture where people are at the same time narcissists and atomized and alone, yet seeking participation in a group, which is a fake catharsis of granting mercy so that they align themselves with martyrdom. And it's all kind of digital. It's not real. And then there's shock troops out in the street. And I saw this. I played it on last night's podcast. Attorney General Keith Ellison addressing the students who didn't go to school. And he goes, oh, there's a bunch of 17. Is there anybody here who's 15? Raise your hand. How about 14? Raise your hand. 13. And I'm thinking to myself, as a father, my 13-year-old comes to me and says, Dad, tomorrow I'm going to the protest. First thing out of my mind, man, it's cold. Because you're going to try to avoid the fight, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, what kind of parents send their children as proxy martyrs? Because that's really what it is. It's kind of a sacrifice of the children. Am I going too far? Because
no, you're not. But let me ask this question. In fairness, with all due respect, what are the ICE agents doing at the high schools? And when I hear stories that some of these ICE agents are showing up at high schools, my antennas go off. Because there is a fine line here. And we all have to remember this. President Trump is not the only power in this country. President Trump's presidency, President Trump's candidacy, President Trump's public profile, can all be used to a greater agenda. President Trump's mission and mandate from the American people, as it was stated through the 2024 campaign and election process, can also be used to a greater agenda.
That'd be called hijacked.
Co-opted, hijacked, that's right. And so even President Trump has to be careful right now. And I said this last week, and people were a little, sensitive about it. But if the most important thing is for us to get every single illegal immigrant out of this country, then every ICE agent has to understand their task is vital to the security and preservation of our republic, which means they have to use the utmost discretion of force and lethal force as to maintain public approval of their very vital task. And somebody has to explain to me why they're at high schools, why they're showing up at high schools. Because surely if there are high school kids who are illegal immigrants, surely it is, in my opinion, unhelpful to the public approval to pull those children from the high school. If there are children, high school students who are illegal immigrants, who are here illegally,
Get them at home.
and we're going to remove them, you don't show the force of a police state at the high school.
Because it traumatizes the other kids.
What it does.
Number one.
Well, I don't even care about the trauma because I think that's overly used. But what it does do is support the narrative that all the students should be afraid of a rising police state unnecessarily, right? I mean, we don't need to be showing a necessary police operation at a high school for kids who are mostly citizens. You get them at home.
It feeds the narrative.
It feeds the narrative. And here's my thing. We got to be very fucking careful with this shit. And I urge the president, and maybe he doesn't hear it, but maybe he does. I urge the president to understand this. Contradiction cannot exist. Go Max, for sure. We know that there's a crisis in this country, a constitutional crisis. There is a crisis of election security. There are a crisis of many, many predatory forces, much more powerful than he is and much more powerful than most of us could imagine. We know that. So go Max. But you're going to have to pick a lane. If the lane is we don't care about public sentiment or public approval, then that has to be exemplified across the board. And if you don't care about the public sentiment or public approval,
Go for it.
if you don't care about the public sentiment or public approval when it comes to ICE, then you need to unredact those Epstein files. And you need to just go full tilt with these judges. And you need to pull out those goddamn election machines. And you need to call out the Lindsey Grahams or whoever these other rhino senators are who don't want to pass the SAVE Act to ensure the security of our elections. See, and if you're not going to do that and you're going to say, no, well, Royce, the public approval and sentiment does still matter.
Then do it.
Then what you're saying is
stay in that lane.
Then stay in that lane. And if you don't stay in that lane, just when it comes to police, people have a right to intuit that there is a propensity towards totalitarianism,
and that justifies them being in the street.
That justifies them being in the street.
But
it's a very tight.
There's another side to it.
Yeah.
Another side to it is, just for example,
yeah,
the Bezos woman, the ex-wife, can't remember her first name. I read she has donated $29 billion to causes, sometimes left-wing, sometimes that money filters all the way down into the organizations that organize these protests. These protests are not organic. They're organized. They're funded. They're well-funded. We're seeing that. President Trump is unmasking that. But then, because they're well-funded, what does President Trump do? I'm cutting off the money. I'm cutting off the money.
Amen.
I'm cutting off the money.
Amen.
Then a judge jumps up and grants an injunction.
Can't cut off the money.
Really what they see coming.
Yeah.
Because look at the fraud in Minnesota. Basically, the money's getting cut off.
Perfect example.
I mean, it's the Sine qua
They
non.
all cried foul when President Trump said something corrupt's happening there in Minnesota, and he used the public school system as the identifier and said we're going to cut off federal funding to all these states that have this subversive ideology in their education system. They said, "Oh, you want to defund public schools for black kids. You want black kids to suffer and not have
Or medical research to save cancer victims.
Right.
What are the same story?
You want to you want to pull money away that's going to save lives or help people's lives, right? But no, his intuition was right. You're using these people's suffering as a cover for your fraudulent scams.
Scam.
$20 billion fucking dollars, and it's just getting started. And see, here's my problem. And I say this, I say this as clear as I can. We must always be vigilant. American citizens must always be vigilant of the rise of totalitarianism or authoritarianism or a police state. That's just prudent, basic first principles American citizen philosophy. However, it isn't lost on me that for some reason, the people in the streets are more interested in ICE as a target of their protest than the $20 billion that was stolen from them. And that is a very, let's say, strange position for a radical materialist or a redistribution of resources and we should eat the rich because they're all corrupt elite.
Oh, that
position.
That contradiction is deep because as long as they're getting their little piece of the action.
Oh, and you know what?
And they're taking nothing.
As much as I fear the rise of totalitarianism by whatever set of circumstances in this country, there is nothing I detest more than a fucking sellout. And we have a crisis of leadership, a failure of citizenship,
and a crisis of sellouts.
An epidemic of sellouts. Crisis of leadership, failure of citizenship, but a fucking epidemic of sellouts. Because all of these virtue signaling grandstanders out there in the streets love the benefits of the very system they say is guilty. They love the perks. They love the materialism.
They are who they are. Because
even more, they love the status. I tell people all the time, you haven't even got an offer to sell out. The most embarrassing thing is you're sitting around with a resume prepared for the opportunity to sell out. Nobody's even made you a fucking offer. You're a sellout ahead of schedule. You're a ahead of schedule sellout. You're a preemptive sellout.
A sellout in waiting.
A sellout in fucking waiting.
There you go.
That's the epidemic. These people are easy prey for propaganda. People who are willing to sell out at that level are so easy to manipulate.
And you know what? When I hear it, you start thinking about people. We were talking about people in the streets, right?
Yeah.
That's what. Same thing's going on out here in CD3. It's the exact same thing, but a little different. The exact same thing, but a little different. The people looking at their phones, looking at their 401ks, looking at the pixels, thinking that's money. It's digital money. It's not even real money. It's a completely illusory world. And now we've got the complication of America at war. So you got one thing working on the left. You're talking about controlled opposition, how these things balance out to maintain the status quo. You got America at war. Boy, I think in the last month we bombed in Nigeria, Syria, Somalia, Venezuela, Iraq, Iran. I mean, we're in a war.
Yeah.
So now you've got all these traditional, and a lot of them were MAGA. It was like, hey, you know what? We don't, and they can't sort out those contradictions, and then they get besieged in social media by what? Images of warriors. I'm getting it.
Isn't it funny? Wait, isn't it funny? My campaign points were border, debt, forever wars, and we get a border a border controversy with ICE. We get a debt controversy with fraud, financial fraud, and we get a forever war controversy with Venezuela. Border, debt, forever wars.
It's still the default line of the politics.
Still the default line of the politics. Even that being the three main points of emphasis of my last campaign was prophetic.
And you know what? Much more difficult to sort out because when those issues were in bold relief, people could take a side.
Easy.
Now, you got to really think this one through. What does this really mean? What's
Gordian knot.
pretzel?
Gordian knot. Yeah.
Contradiction.
Right.
Boy, you know, which one do you want to start on?
But no, it's simple. Oh, it's real fucking simple.
It is?
Yeah, it's real simple.
Okay, wrap it down there.
The fraud is outrageous. That's why we're in debt.
Do we ask Democrats what can the government
The
do?
fraud, the
But when
fraud
you
is
ask
outrageous.
these people, but when you ask them, is there anything? And I learned this from you. You said try it. I've been trying it. Is there anything that they could do that would make you vote Republican? And the answer is
No. That says everything you need
Bill
to know.
Withers. Use me.
That says everything.
It's
People
just-
are fucking sellouts.
I mean, it's just crazy.
You could. Is there anything that, if you're a Democrat out there, Democrat or Republican, fuck it. Let's just do away with the party lines, because we know the uniparty is ripe. Okay. Democrats or Republicans, is there anything that your party could do that would compel you to vote for the opposing party? Is there anything that your party could do that could get you to abnegate your vote? If the answer is no, you are not a citizen. Or let's say you're not a citizen as intended by the founding fathers of this country. You're a fucking pawn. And if your sensitivity to my using the adjective fucking pawn is a problem for you, it's even more indication that you're a fucking pawn. You're a fucking pawn. You're not even really here. You don't exist. And that's what's tragic. That's what, at nighttime keeps me up, is not the effect that it has on me. And I don't mean to sound, pseudo altruistic here. But my deep sentiment about it is, what a tragedy. That people live lives in which they don't even really exist because, again, the spirit and the intellect are inextricably linked. When the intellect is bastardized, your spirit is degraded. And if you have a spirit degraded to a certain level, you cease to exist.
There's a esoteric term for that. Fragment. They're fragmentary people. And it is a tragedy. And I see more and more of it. More and more of it. And I see a lot of demonic possession.
For sure.
From my perspective.
Right. Demonic possession favors the fragmented.
Because they're easy to Agent Smith in The Matrix.
And then the great trick of it is we can get them all to believe that they are so moral. Right? We can get the demonically possessed to somehow convince themselves that they have the moral high ground. That is the scary. That's the scary part. That
takes some engineering.
That's how you get genocide. In fact, that is how you get genocide. That is the pretense for genocide. When you can get people who are demonically possessed to believe they have the moral high ground. And I'm watching it. It's like, and I hate to go to men and women, but honestly, there is a suicidal empathy so profound in modern society. It's harrowing. It really is. I mean, I'm watching these women say in the same breath that we should be ready to lay our lives down for illegal immigrants who have rap sheets out of a fucking horror movie. I mean, straight out of a horror movie, multiple counts of child molestation, attempted murder, vicious assault on women. And somehow women are laying their life down for these people to have the right to live here illegally. And it's just like, should it be lost on me that so many of these illegal immigrants with these criminal rap sheets have the same sort of pedophilic and predatory political view or profile that these protesters have? It's like minor attracted people. What the fuck is that? I'm not sure what you're saying here. And it's not a comment about, and it's not a comment of judgment. It's like even like basic like libertarian style. Okay, who you're fucking's who you're fucking. Don't really care. You could be fucking a man, a woman. You could be a man, a woman. You could identify as something in between. You could like it one-on-one. You could like solo. You could do the group thing. It doesn't really matter to me. That's another distraction that our politics have become hypersexualized like the rest of society, right? It's like, well, what is this person's sexuality? I don't really give a fuck. But don't stand up there as a man with a wig and tell me I have to call you a woman. Now we're not dealing in reality. You can call you a woman, but you can't force me to call you a woman. You can pretend to be a woman, but you can't force me to pretend you're a woman. These are basics. And then they conflate the whole thing and say, well, you can't tell that person who they love. I don't give a fuck who you love. You can love who you want, a man, a woman, a 75-year-old dinosaur. You can have you a sugar daddy, as they call it, okay? You can love a tree. You can love a plant. You can love a dog. You love a little kid, you're tilting towards the
Predatory.
the wicked. And that used to be an immutable line, and now it's getting shaky. Now it's getting blurry. I mean, back to the beginning, you said blurry lines. I don't think it's so blurry. I think they're obscuring the line intentionally. And my point in this is that I think there are a lot of well-intended people out there who have rightful and genuine and rightful fears about government and about the corruption of government or the corruption of corporations. But it does not line up. It is not coherent with their political action or their political comments. It's like you're willing to lay your life down because for some reason you value the life of these illegal immigrants so much, but you are also at the same time willing to instigate a war with a nuclear superpower where people in Europe or anywhere there in Eurasia or maybe even America could lose their lives en masse in an instant. I mean, we are simultaneously crying and shouting that we're willing to lay our lives down for illegal immigrants while also instigating geopolitical tensions that could result in nuclear war. So is it really about the value of life, or is it about the need for chaos?
Or is it hatred?
Or is it self-hate? Well, I think the need for chaos arises from self-hatred.
It could be hatred of the so-called patriarchy. I mean, I can see that being the organizing the organizing pole.
I don't even know. I don't know. Could be. It's one of them. It's one of the ones they identify as.
For sure.
But it's not real. It's not real. Because again, let's use the woman example.
Is it real? Maybe
let's
it is
use
for
the
them.
let's use the woman example. And let's go down to the most anecdotal and granular level. And I always bring up this point in the conversations about gender war in America specifically, but it's all around the world. Women are simultaneously saying that men are dangerous, violent, and predatory. But the number one selling book was 50 Shades of Grey. Now, square the circle. Thomas Massey, square the circle. Why should I ask an AIPAC-controlled Congress for action to defend this nation? Leftists, square the circle. If it's about martyrdom, why do you reject and hate Jesus Christ? Women, square the circle. If men are violent, predatory, and abusive, then why is your favorite book 50 Shades of Grey? Contradiction.
People are lying to themselves.
Not only are they lying to themselves, they're weaponizing the lie. They're weaponizing self-deception.
Well, when you say they,
yeah,
it's not the people that are lying to themselves. Their lie. It's easy to weaponize anything that's in denial,
Yeah.
like the truth.
Right.
It's very easy to weaponize it.
Right.
And it has been weaponized.
Right.
And it's the big and the small. And I think when you said President Trump had the right intuition, I think you used a word, but it wasn't like logic. The right field intuition to go after the universities. Right. That's the first big thing he did when he
We're going to
took
defund
office.
you. We're going to defund. We're going to dismantle the education system. Yeah.
Kind of petered out.
Yes, it did.
It petered out.
Yes, it did.
And
Why?
Why did it peter out? Because
The judges.
not only the judges
Mm-hmm.
stand in front of the next group and say, "Who here is a Gophers fan? Whose child graduated from the University of Minnesota?"
Oh, there it is. Oh, don't I know? They use sports to insulate the corruption. They use the bread and circuses to insulate the philosophical corruption.
The symbol,
Wow.
the symbolism.
Profound. Boom.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me on today. That's it.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah. Now you see it. I'm tingling. I got an Alex Jones tingle going on.
Motherfuckers.
That's correct. Principalities and powers. Humans are not this smart.
They're not.
This is a plan that goes back. Okay, this time thing. We really want to get into real contradictions in life.
Martin Heidegger. Go ahead.
Space and time.
Being in time, right.
Okay, that's it right there. The lie goes that deep.
Yeah.
And so, this Coliseum that's been built a long damn time. The same people have been running it the whole time. Okay.
Intergenerational. Whether it's blood or
doesn't need to be blood,
or it's
secret society,
ideological
secret society,
right.
Secret society.
Right.
It goes back. I mean, here's one of my favorite, because I haven't worked all this through. I'm trying to work it through because we're at war, and I say on my podcast, and I said this: the first thing I felt as a 66-year-old boomer when the word came down that Maduro got plucked out, pride. I felt shot through with pride.
Yeah.
I mean, pride.
I still do.
Pride, right? Cain slew Abel, and the Lord said, "Where's your brother?" And am I my brother's keeper? The blood of your brother cries out from the sand. See, now there's a problem in here. I got to sort this out.
Yeah.
Because when the state takes over the killing and makes it glorious, is it still murder?
No, that's not what makes it glorious.
What makes it glorious?
What makes it glorious is the political circumstance of the time and the fact that for President Trump, singularly in his political career and in his presidency, the prevailing status quo was that America's foreign policy and our military prowess would be used to the benefit of other nations, of nations that seek to subvert our nation, actually. And to go into Venezuela is a deviation from that norm. That's what makes it glorious. A lot of glory is juxtaposed. A lot of glory is relative. It's juxtaposed to the circumstance of the time. It's like I always ask myself, had Pontius Pilate decided to turn Jesus loose instead of saying, give him to his people, let them decide, would it make Jesus' sacrifice as profound? The answer is obviously no. But his mission in life were more, let's say, more divinely preordained, right? But for all of us, that's the circumstance. Like, what made me bringing people to the Federal Reserve so important or significant was that nobody else would do it. And that's a hallmark of what makes President Trump significant in human history, is the circumstances with which the time that he lives in and the circumstances of this time, right? He is a middle finger to all the corrupt interests and lobbies and puppet masters and kingmakers that came before him. Even if sometimes his actions align with their desires or agenda, the totality of his body of work
no doubt,
is a middle finger to
To the existing order.
To the existing
New world order.
That's right.
And the New World Order.
That's what makes Maduro, number one, Maduro's a fucking communist. Number one.
That was kind. He's kind of just a gangster, isn't he?
No.
You think he's an ideologue?
That's an interesting question. I'm
It
not
is.
sure.
Maybe we'll circle back on that.
Well, we could ask the same thing about G if we really wanted to. I mean, when you get to those labels, it gets a little interesting. Are people really doing it out of ideological fealty, or are they doing it for their own
let me ask
selfish
you a question.
interest?
This is interesting. Just take a break.
Because I could use capitalism for my own selfish
because I
interest
want to
too.
come back to where I was going on this pride thing too. But I mean,
one second, I just want to say this. Maduro is a fucking communist, and even if he's not a communist, he was in league with communists, and there is a fundamental difference between communism and what we describe as free market capitalism. That is where we've blurred a line, a very distinct line that we should have kept distinct, and we didn't. And that was the great sin of Henry Kissinger going into China in the 70s, was we blurred a line between free market capitalism and communism. And it's a blurry line that we're still having trouble extricating ourselves from, because in a sense, it's like, well, what is the right or wrong way morally to do business or to manufacture goods or to produce energy? What are the right or wrong moral boundaries on what you could call the material or commerce world? Well, when you get down in there, it's like war.
Well, here's a contradiction right here.
Yeah, it's like war. What's the right way to do war?
The whole point of the petrodollar was it wasn't moral or immoral. It was amoral.
Yeah.
Just about the money, baby.
Everybody said, yeah, and that's a fucking scam.
Okay, but that was how it was sold.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so there's your contradiction.
But what I was saying, again, at the beginning of the podcast, I said we have to go back to the fundamentals. There is no fucking amoral. There is no amoral. Because
that's the contradiction of the money.
There are no amoral people.
It's not the money, it's the people.
Just like we say it's not the guns, it's the people.
Same deal.
Same deal. Yeah, guns aren't amoral. They take on the morality of their user.
And the war is really about currency. And this brings me back to the G. Maduro thing.
We took the oil.
We
took the oil.
But from a very close view, which you know I have, Xi is representing something sincerely, which is the interests of the lineage and the future of the Han dynasty, the Han people.
So he says.
Well, okay, who else's payroll is he on? He's trying to take over the whole deal for the Han people. That's why the deal broke down.
Oh, you're right. No,
that's why the deal broke down.
Let's be clear about it. It's possible that Xi's most conscious motivation is national interest, or let's say ethnic interest, the Chinese people, the Han dynasty. It's possible that that's his driving motivation. It's also possible that he's in on a much bigger conspiracy to make the entire global economy China-centric, and that the entire global economy favoring a communist totalitarian regime is in the interest of the rise of totalitarianism writ large. That's also possible. The question is, how should America view it, and what preemptive measures should we take to thwart it? And in my opinion, the idea of freedom, and even more importantly, the idea of the freedom of religion, is so important and integral to Western society and our identity as citizens that if there's a war that we need to fight,
that's the hill to die on.
That's the hill to fucking die on.
We agree about that.
And if that is the case, then there is no way we should have ever sat by this long and let China play fast and loose with Monroe Doctrine. Let China creep up into Mexico, into Cuba, into Venezuela, into Canada. Oh, the Prime Minister just said our new deal with China is good for our position in the New World Order.
You know,
why would Canada's
part of the Commonwealth?
What the fuck does Canada need from China? Wait a second. Hold on. Let's just think about this. What the fuck does Canada need from China except for cheap goods? They have their own oil. They have the ability to make, they can get steel from us. I mean, rubber. What is it that Canada needs so desperately that a deal with a communist totalitarian regime is seen as a net positive for their future as a nation? They're communists. And this is what I'm saying. There is a rise of communism that leans toward totalitarianism. And this is where the ideologues on the ground in the street, who used to be the Black Panthers or let's say the hippie movement, get communism twisted. They're thinking of communism from an individual national perspective. Well, these elites are screwing us and the rich are evil, and a lot of that is true. But communism has much greater designs on its people than they understand or are aware of. Most of them. And I'm talking about people who I know. Like if I go to a local high school basketball game and I ask 9 out of 10 people about communism, none of them can tell me what the fuck it is, let alone its historical context. They can't even tell me what it is. They don't. You know how many Christians don't realize that a tenet of communism is a rejection of the existence of God or the spiritual or metaphysical world at all? They don't even know that. So it is greatly predatory, but it's great in its predatory, in its predation. It's incredibly efficient. It's because they hit you with we are the world. We just want to help everybody. And people are so susceptible to it because they're self-deceiving. They tell themselves that they really want the best for themselves, but that's not really true. Their actions tell you otherwise. People are inherently self-destructive. That's the glory. The glory is at the moment where you become most self-destructive, do you have the courage to pivot back to righteousness and prosperity? And that's what makes President Trump great. And that's what could make this country great again.
That's what makes the line reappear. Because one ideology is of life and light, and the other ideology is about darkness and death. I mean, it's just that simple.
Right.
And history bears that out and continues to bear it out. Nonetheless, when you have this kind of contradiction, because aren't you the guy that said to me right here on this show that communism and capitalism are the same thing?
The way that, what I'm saying is that at the highest level today, capitalism and communism are the same thing.
Because capitalism has been captured.
That is right.
And who captured it? Because
we did. Americans did.
That would be going back to the petrodollar and
it's
back
going
to
back
the Fed.
to the Fed. The Federal Reserve.
The way that whole thing works.
The socialization of risk makes you a socialist economy.
Insurance companies.
If you're a socialist economy, you're a communist.
And here we are.
I don't care how many individual private...
And try to take it away from somebody. Try to take it away. Try to take it away. Hey, you want to know something?
I don't care how many private...
I won't even take my Social Security. That's my attitude.
I don't care how many private owners have equity or get the lion's share of the profits. If you socialize the risk of your society, of your nation, of the losses, if you socialize the risk, you are a socialist economy. If your economy is...
want to know what
wait a second. If your economy is socialist in a radical materialist society, if the money is socialist in a society where money is supreme...
Fraud. I was just going to say that because that's the hallmark of a decaying, not a new communist entity or source. That's a mature system.
Yes.
Where it's so heavily rigged that a small group of skullduggerous operators
get rich on the way down.
Well, is it up or down?
Oh, it's down.
Down for us,
down
not for them.
Us, up for them.
Yeah. It's like wrestling, right?
That's right.
I was watching, Catherine Austin Fitz?
Oh, boy.
She has a video out
that
is thoroughly, it looks to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
And she's a smart person and got a good case.
Former
Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
Yeah, HUD.
She has tracked and had this confirmed at the university in an economics department that between 97 and 2015, $20 trillion went missing out of the Pentagon. And we know $2.3 trillion went, they admitted to it because Don Rumsfeld is on YouTube right now. You can go see it tonight. On what date? 9/10, the day before 9/11, 2001. He stood up before the cameras and he said, Well, not us, not today. We are, as you say, tangled up in our own anchor chain. $2.3 trillion of payments cannot be accounted for. You know, if we just put that $2.3 trillion in QQQ as a country, it's $19 trillion. There goes half the debt. But somebody did it in their personal account, right? That's still $19 trillion today, just not for me and you. And Fitz says it's really $20 trillion between 97 and 2015. The Pentagon has failed 8 audits in a row.
Right.
They just okay, great. HUD, she worked at HUD, $1 trillion. Now left.
But that's also part of the fundamental favor for modern monetary theory is that they do assess that the wealth hasn't actually disappeared from the economy. It's just held by private hands so that they can continue to run up the debt because the private hands will ultimately reinvest in the system for their own self-preservation.
You mean the hidden hand?
The hidden hand, right.
Excuse me.
Right.
Because that's the hidden hand.
Right.
Because
that's not really so hidden either.
Well, that's because the great unmasker sits.
It's hidden to people who say, well, we have to stop these ICE Gestapos. I mean, that's the whole gaffe is like, they're fucking robbing you blind. You can't even afford your fucking gas, and you're willing to lay your life. That's why you're willing to lay your life down. That's what my point. You're willing to lay your life down because your life sucks, not because it's altruistic. Because in no other part of your life do you express this form of altruistic humanitarianism. You are exploited by people who see it profitable to lay little carrots of humanitarianism in front of you for you to grasp on like a primal rabbit in a cage. Seriously, right? You know what I mean? If you stick a fucking carrot down there in that rabbit's cage, that feral fucking rabbit, and he fucking jumps on it, that's how they dangle these humanitarian initiatives in front of these people who they're stealing from. They're just robbing them blind.
We are the world. This is like the sports teams. Michael Jackson, We Are the World.
That's right.
It's the same thing. Is that not the same thing?
The exact same thing.
Legitimizing.
Oh, this is they hit you with the sports. Let me tell you how bad it really is. And I don't mean to doom and gloom because we could change this. I'm looking right in the camera. Everybody out there in the audience, we could change this. We actually could. If we had a single fucking ounce of sacred honor. But I don't know if we do. This is how bad it really is. The same global corporate watering hole that owns professional sports and global entertainment are the interest groups that created the system that steals from these people every day and unleashed the type of inequality they say that they're fighting against. They go to the fucking games in short skirts and overmarked designer clothes to then go home and post about it on social media to the benefit of the social media platforms, the profit of the social media platforms, to then be told they have to go out in the streets and lay their life down for the very policies and crises that those same people created. And then everybody asks, why do you keep using the word cuck? Oh, cuck is something much, much deeper and more insidious than some type of sexual pornography niche. Oh, if we want to take cuck down to its foundations, you are getting abused. And what's scary about it is you like it. You like it.
You like it.
You like it.
That is the cuck. There's the cuck part right there.
There you go.
We're getting. Well, it's all of us. I mean, really.
Right.
Although some of us are actually
fighting
because that's just who we are.
Really fighting though.
Which I'm going to say right now. Stop.
Okay.
Stop. Because we don't do a good job of this. There's going to be 100,000 people watch this podcast. 25,000 people need to buy tires this year. 25,000. You can go to tireget.com, which Royce alludes to at the beginning of every one of his shows. You go to tireget.com. It's the best price in the country. The service is great. It's totally guaranteed. It's been put together to fund Free People Radio. And you could show your appreciation for Royce and for Free People Radio by buying your next set of tires And if 25,000 of you remembered Royce and Free People Radio and realized it would support this broadcasting, we could go 24 hours a day with that kind of money. We're just asking for your support. So when we talk about who's out in the streets doing the deal, you know, another one, Mike Lindell. He's given up everything.
Yep.
I mean, if you're going to buy a pillow, come on. I mean, let's just talk about what it is. It's the patriot economy. It's like you watch. I know you're here because you like the content. I read the comments. I know you care. I know you have to really invest in Free People Radio and be part of what we're doing. Because if you listen to the press, you're not going to listen to us. You spend some time thinking about this. And thank you so much. Now, we're not asking you to do something you're not going to do anyhow. We're asking you to support across the whole range of your life because President Trump has unleashed the dogs of war. We're into it now. This is it. So please support, take the time to support the people and the products that are actually risking their lives. I mean, we're out there. I mean, remember that time we were in Minneapolis? Remember we were at that convention center?
That's St. Paul.
Was that same? No, I'm talking about Minneapolis when we were doing the forum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're actually out there.
Yeah. Guy came in with a gun.
Didn't he have a long gun under that coat? Wasn't that what it was? I can't even remember.
I don't think he had a long gun.
But, I mean, they jacked his ass out of there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing this, and we're just asking people, please support the broadcast. You know who does a great job? Alex does. He can work it in. That's why I watch him. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. But please support Royce White. Support Free People Radio. This is what he's trying to build to talk to you. Yeah. And this kind of content needs a home. It really does.
Support your fucking self is what I'm going to tell you. Support your fucking self. Stop being a fucking cuck. Stop letting these people use and abuse you. Stop being a pawn in their game. But in order to do that, the first thing you have to do is decide whether or not you even value yourself.
And you vote every day with every decision that you make.
These people don't value themselves. That's the buried lead here. All of this political theater and cosplay is just that. It's virtue signaling. It's fake humanitarianism. It's a false catharsis for their own self-hatred. And that's why when you see people out in the streets, a lot of them are strange.
How do we get to them?
A lot of them are strange. A lot of them are weird. A lot of them have that manic, that
fragment
manic
thing
personality. You know, they don't seem like they're rap tight.
And you want to know something?
And you can see it on them. You can see, but the scary thing is they'll say that we're crazy, and it's like, excuse me, you know, and this is where my patience wears thin, because I'm willing to talk to people. That's fine. But if you break from reality too much, and then you're willing to double and triple down on it, and then you're willing to physically posture up, like you're willing to fight over it, over your
contradiction,
over your contradiction, and break from reality.
But that would make a lot of sense.
I'll just smack your fucking teeth out of your mouth, and then we can go back to reality. It's like I said about these. Let me say this about this libertarian crowd for a moment. These hardline constitutionalists. And they're really starting to piss me off. It's part of my gripe.
Is Massey.
It's not him though, but it is that
he's in that kind of though.
He's in that wing,
in that milieu.
Yeah, he's in that milieu, right? It's this. Well, if we just follow the Constitution to a T, well, first of all, it's not for the Congress to enforce the Constitution. It's for a well-armed citizenry, well-armed and well-educated, well-informed citizenry to enforce the Constitution. So the reason the Constitution has been violated time and time again is because the people
abdicated,
accept the benefits.
Oh, that's yin yang. Abdicated responsibility,
right.
And then went on sellouts in waiting.
So there's this constitutionalist type movement that says, well, we're not going to let them violate the Constitution on the right. So in our sort of fake virtue signal about the Constitution, we're not going to let President Trump violate the Constitution either, because then we would be hypocrites. And I just know these people have never played sports or been in battle. I just know I just know.
They're looking for fake rules.
Same way as the far left. It's an epidemic. It's an epidemic of selling out, and it's an epidemic of political theater and cosplay.
Which is so interesting because right on the left, they're right in everybody's face. You can go on YouTube.
Wait a second. Wait a second. The Constitution. Let me make this point. In a baseball game, if a pitcher throws a pitch high and inside, I might let it go.
Once.
Or I might charge the fucking mound. And if I charge the mound, there's a good chance that both dugouts are getting emptied.
And the bullpens.
When that happens, the rules of the game are suspended until everybody decides there's an understanding and we're going to resume play with the previous rules. We do not have that understanding right now in this country. The rules of the game are suspended. Doesn't mean that the rules change. They didn't change. They're suspended because a war is broken out. It's not a kinetic war. It's not a full-blown civil war yet. It could be. Right now, it's a political war. There's a cultural war and political war. There's a psychological and information war. But that war is full-blown broken out. So the rules of the game are now suspended until everybody decides together
to go back to the rules.
But what I'm not going to listen to are these fake cosplaying constitutionalist libertarians tell me that we should play by rules that our enemies refuse to. That also makes you a fucking cuck. That's a form of cuckery.
It certainly is, particularly because if you go on the left, anybody can go right now and find the dean of the Berkeley Law School, which is as leftist as it comes, and he's leading the charge nationally because he says, after all, the Constitution was written for an agrarian, slave-owning society. It needs to be changed. We want to change the rule book.
Right.
We want to take out some of the inconvenient things like, freedom of speech, which there's a worldwide. We know this, right?
Well, and my point to this constitutional crowd is this: let's play Russian roulette. Okay. Let's play a game of 10 paces. What happens if your opponent takes 9? You fucking die.
For sure.
And that's where we are in this country.
And that's a lot. This is on the right. This kind of faux, we need to follow the rule of law thing.
Yes. Whittled down to the constitutionalist libertarian wing of the party.
But they don't even go to caucus. They don't even go out to caucus to exercise their self-governance.
Right.
Because rule of law would mean something
if you were involved in the process, if you were represented.
If you came and played.
Taxation without representation is wrong. It's the most basic fundamental. Again, back to the basics, down to the fundamentals.
That's really the crux of it. I mean, it's like, man, if
you're not represented,
if you're going to opine about how you want the system to work.
I'm watching motherfuckers cry about ICE. You don't even vote. And you don't, and you're abstaining your vote.
Oh, you're talking about the Christians now that are saying
no. I'm talking.
Well, there's the Mercy group in here too.
There's that group too.
Oh, they
I'm
don't
not talking
vote
about
either.
Them. No, I'm not talking about them though. I'm talking about the people who are out in the streets at the ICE protests, or they're online in the ICE protests. I'm watching people make comments about a controversial political issue who don't even keep up with politics, let alone participate in the political process. You don't even vote. And your abstaining your vote is not a repudiation of the corruption of the system or the insecurity of elections. Your abstinence of your vote is just because you're lazy and fucking selfish and you don't actually care about politics the way you're trying to portray that you do online to a bunch of other fucking jerk-offs who also don't participate in the political process. Because if you all did, you would have the government that you wanted.
Manufactured consent.
That's right.
It's a manufactured consent
of jerk-offs,
which then, of course, but then
it's not a real consent.
But then it does have an opinion poll.
It's a
57%. But 57% of American citizens, according to the poll, oppose
ICE,
which is critical to the maintenance of the republic, the work that they're doing.
Yeah, they oppose their own existence. The greatest example of suicidal empathy.
That's kind of contradiction, isn't it? That's funny.
We're living in an upside down world. Do you ever get the sense that you're living in like a weird simulation? Like, but you and I are such good friends and we know each other so well. We spend so much time together that maybe we are in our own individual simulation, but somehow we're still really here. I don't know. I get this sense like, what the fuck is going on here? But Professor Penn gets it.
No.
There are a few other people that get it, but then I'll come across somebody who I know and go, oh, that motherfucker's definitely jacked. They're jacked in twice. Right? They're sucking the electricity right out of your fucking, cerebral cortex.
It's hilarious.
They're plugged right into your amygdala, right? I mean, I'm just watching some of these people I know personally. And it's funny how these political controversies pop up and all of a sudden you get to see who people really are. And again, it's like, I'm not trying to judge your life, and we make everything about sex. It's like why every political candidate that pops up, the first thing they go after is his personal life or her personal life, sexual scandal. How many boyfriends, how many marriages, how many divorces, how many kids, how many this, how many that. I don't give a shit. You could have been married 7 times with 12 kids. You could have been married once with none. Doesn't make any difference to me. Hey, you want to go get married to a man, Pete Buttigieg? I don't agree with it, but that's your prerogative, But what I'm not going to do is sit here and watch all these people pretend that we shouldn't have a fucking border and then try and, moonwalk out of that position by saying, well, it's not border enforcement that's the issue. It's how he's doing it. It's the same argument they make about, masculine men in general. It's not what you're saying. It's how you're saying it. Well, first of all, you're lying because there are people on the left who fundamentally reject the idea that we should have a border at all. And if you vote Democrat and you oppose ICE, but you deny that there are people on the left who fundamentally reject the idea of a border from the outset, you're either extremely fucking stupid or you're extremely dishonest. And I just tend to think people are self-deceptive. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, but that's the whole impetus. That's the impetus of it. That is the core. That's the core political ideology.
You think these people really don't? You think some of these people, and I'm just talking about the people who are loosely, oppose ICE and this operation to remove illegal immigrants on social media that we see commenting, but they don't really follow politics. You really think they don't know that their political party and its political leaders fundamentally reject the idea of a border?
I think they do know.
I think they know too.
They know. That's the whole point.
I think a very small portion of them may not know because they're so distracted by
13-year-olds.
their everyday life. Now, I think there are some adults. I think there's some 60-year-olds, some who actually don't make that connection, but plenty of them know. Plenty of them know. Their intuition is to go along, and this is what makes them, again, you're a fucking coward because you can talk about the system being guilty and all the unfairness and injustice, but when push comes to shove, you are more invested in the injustice and unfairness than you are in changing it. And I've watched you fucking you coward motherfuckers. I've watched you my whole life, 34 years of my life, I've watched these motherfuckers pretend every time there's a political crisis that they're all about change. They're all about righting the wrongs of injustice and inequality. But as soon as the smoke clears, as soon as the dust settles, as soon as it all dies down, they're right back to sucking the fucking benefits. They're right back to watch. I said the other day, Emily in Paris, OnlyFans, cocaine. How the fuck do you think cocaine gets here? How the fuck do you think your drug or vice of preference gets here, whatever that may be? You don't want us to take the Venezuelan oil, but you want to go get in your fucking car that uses gasoline to drive down the street to the guy's house you just met to lay on your fucking back and get off whatever validation you need. You want that. You want to be able to put gas in that car, but you see, you don't think that there's an actual exchange at a global level for your local life. There's an exchange made. You just don't see it. Or better yet, you've denied its existence for your own psychological, your own psychological sanity, your own psychological security. You've abnegated the connection from that global transaction to your local life for your own psychological security. Because if you really started to dissect the things that happen globally and connect them back to the things that you enjoy every life, you wouldn't be able to live with yourself. And that's because you're a fucking coward. And that's why they detest the America First and MAGA movement. That's why they want us to lay on our fucking back and wait for this country to go up in fucking flames. And there's Republicans just the same. They're the ones who created this whole managed decline idea. They want to get rich on the way down and then run off with their shekels. You know, they want to run off with their 401ks and their stock portfolios because they're so fucking smart about their investments. Free trade, free market capitalism, you cocksuckers sold our country out to the Chinese Communist Party. And we watched it. We're watching. Those of us who are watching. We see it. But again, go down to the granular level. It's these individual people who are lying to themselves. And I just want you to be more upfront about it. Just say, I don't give a fuck about anybody else. I'm out for me. I'm going to do what's best for me. I don't give a fuck about
You're going libertarian now.
I don't give a fuck. No, I'm not.
No, I'm just saying it's starting to sound.
I'm not going there.
But isn't that the libertarian thing? It's all about me?
No, I mean,
kind of,
maybe.
Yeah.
You know, from a government standpoint.
Self-interest.
From a government standpoint, but you could be a libertarian and still care about your family, community, the country, and others. I'm not saying that the libertarians are selfish. I'm saying that their political philosophy is to restrict the sovereign individual down to the least amount of government involvement. That makes sense. I get that. We agree on that with the libertarians. I'm talking about individuals culturally. I'm not talking about politics. Just come out and say, you don't give a fuck about anybody else. And then the cosplay and theater starts to make sense. You're not out there because you really oppose the rise of totalitarianism or authoritarianism. You're not out there because you really oppose the rise of a police state. You're out there because you hate your fucking life and you need a scapegoat. You need a bad guy because in your life, you're actually the bad person. You're actually the bad guy in your own story. So if we can make Donald Trump the bad person, then I don't have to look in the mirror anymore. You don't give a fuck about your wife or your husband. You don't really give a fuck about your children, or you'd be watching what they're teaching at the schools. You don't really give a fuck about what your local government is doing with your tax money, because if you did, you would have stopped paying taxes a long time ago. If you really wanted to be a martyr for a cause and your government's fucking you, you'd have stopped paying your taxes, but you're a cuck. You like when the government fucks you. You like when the government fucks your neighbor. You like to watch. That's what we need to get, and let's just get there.
You like to watch other people fail.
Let's just get to it. When I say let's get to it, that's what I mean. Let's just get to that point where we all say, you know what? Cut the shit. We're all out for ourselves for the most part. Let's just stop with the virtue signaling. Let's just stop with the theater.
Keep it real.
Keep it real. It's like AOC showing up to the Met Gala with a $100,000 couture dress that says, the rich are evil. AOC, you're rich as they come. And your dress is an obscenity. A dress that costs that much is an obscenity. And let's talk about all these high fashion folks. I was watching the other day, Mark Ruffalo, who plays the Hulk, shows up with a little pin for Renee Good. Excuse me. How about the fucking, what was it? $100 billion, $300 billion. And I love The Avengers. It's a great movie. If you grew up watching Marvel comics, then there's nothing better than seeing, the Avengers come to life on the big screen. But let's be honest. If you want to feed the homeless, could we do without the next installation of The Avengers? You want to take $200 billion and put it toward the homeless? No, because you still have to come to the Golden Globes. You people are so dishonest. It's disgusting. I love when the guy, what's the British guy's name? Gervais.
Ricky
Gervais.
Yeah.
And he stood up there and goes, you guys would all take a deal from China or Apple if they called your agents tomorrow. But see, this is part of the sickness, is that we simultaneously say that we are interested in the quality of life or the prosperity of the average person, the citizen, and at the same time we're obsessed with celebrity and high culture, high society. And I'm watching listen, The reason I'm fucking pissed, and people don't see me get this pissed that often, I go off, but I'm fucking pissed. And I'm going to start spitting at these people's feet. Don't be surprised out there in the audience. Don't be surprised if you hear Royce White was arrested for disturbing the peace. Because I'm ready to spit at some of these people's feet. And I'm not talking about politicians. I'm talking about people in my personal life. People who I know, who I've grown up with, who I've known my whole life. When I see you, I'm not shaking your hand. When I see you, I'm not acting like we're cool. When I see you and I saw some stupid shit you posted online, I'm going to tell you you're a coward punk motherfucker and you're a liar. And I'll spit right at your feet. And if you want to fight, I kind of like it. And we need some of that in this country as well. We need some of that moxie and some of that dose of reality back in this country as well. Yeah, and again, I know you fucking people personally. You're not altruistic. You're not humanitarian. You've never been willing to lay your fucking life down for any cause outside of yourself.
And you use your children.
And you use your children. And even worse, not only are you not willing to lay your life down for a greater cause, but you are deeply obsessed with the superficial. You are deeply obsessed with celebrity culture. You are deeply obsessed with the superficiality of high fashion. I mean, what's more white supremacist than some European designer taking a T-shirt of cotton and marking it up 300% because they say it's cool? There's nothing more white supremacist or Eurocentric than that. You see what I'm saying?
I certainly do.
I mean, these people, the audacity of you motherfuckers, and then when it's all said and done, you think you're going to shame me for wearing a MAGA hat? Fuck you, cocksuckers. Fuck you. Let me say it very fucking clear. Fuck you. Come meet me in the middle, but you won't because most of you are fucking cowards. There's a few of them over there who I just got to tip my hat and respect and say, hey, they're willing to get down. But most of them aren't willing to get down. That's why the guy with the flag, he went into the counter-protest. He went to protest and counter-protested with the flag, and they tried to, rough him up and bully him, and he knocked 3-4 of them out. Knocked them out cold. Boom, boom, boom. Because they're not really, they've let the media and propaganda convince them that they're ready for something they're really not ready for. They're really not ready for, and that's what this country needs. Just some real strong, straight up, straight talk leadership, and that's going to cut around the bullshit. Fuck you people. We're going to wear our fucking MAGA hats until the day you round us up and you kill us. And you better kill us, because if you leave us alive, I guarantee you we will fight until we are victorious, because you're lying. You want the destruction of this nation because you are deeply accepting of the destruction in your own fucking life, and it shows through your everyday fucking actions. You don't care about anybody. You don't even care about yourself, truth be told. Push comes to shove, you don't even wipe your own ass correctly. You don't even wipe your own fucking ass correctly. When push comes to shove, truth be fucking told, you wipe the wrong fucking way. That's the reality. And guess what? I'm not judging you. I get people have problems and flaws and shortcomings. The problem is when you try and tell me.
Try to judge me.
How to live.
Yeah, judge me.
Based on a false reality.
We're not judging you.
If you tell me the sky is blue and I object, you have a right to say, Royce, you're an idiot. Royce, you're tripping. Royce, you're crazy. The sky is blue. We can all see it. But when I tell you that a country has to have a border in order to be a country, and you tell me some esoteric fucking reason why not, and I'm crazy for saying we need a border, fuck you. I don't even want to have some rational, highbrow debate with you about the historical context of borders and nations. Fuck you. Fuck you, motherfucker. This country's going to have a fucking border. And if you don't fucking like it, then you're the reason why these people have to face the overreach or the aggression of ICE agents. You're the reason, not me. Because if your coward fucking president that all these Democrats try to lie and say was competent didn't let 15 million motherfuckers in this country, we wouldn't need an ICE agency to grow and run around here like super cops. And then on top of it, while they're out there trying to do it, then you're obstructing them. See, this is the lie they tell. Oh, we're not against. Half of these Democrats, well, we believe in borders. We're not against enforcing immigration policy. It's how they're doing it. What kind of you think we're fucking stupid? Fuck you. We're watching people literally obstruct the operation of removing illegal immigrants. From the outset, we're watching people organize protests. We're watching politicians tell people to protest and even obstruct the removal of illegal immigrants. So don't tell me you're not against removing illegal immigrants in principle. Yes, you are. Or your party too. Fuck you. Fuck you. Now, if people were just allowing ICE to go about their operation,
might seem a little less tyrannical.
With no interference, and they were rounding up citizens.
Oh, citizens.
I'd be down at that fucking ICE facility myself. If the left and the liberal media had not weaponized the propaganda and put the onus on citizens to stop these ICE agents from doing their job and removing these illegal immigrants because we do need a border, if that was really the case, and these ICE agencies were truly overreaching for no reason or justification at all, I myself would be down at the ICE facility saying, you better let those fucking, if we want to see their papers. The citizens, we want to see that person's papers. If that's a citizen of the United States of America, if that's an American citizen, you better let him go right the fuck now. But that's not what's going on. And the other clear thing is this. I would be down at the ICE facility. A lot of you cocksuckers would be commenting on social media. That's the truth of it. If they were really doing what's being portrayed that they're doing, if they were really doing what the media is trying to propagandize, I would be down there at that ICE facility saying these are American citizens. They need to be let go, apologized to, and they probably need some restitution. Give them a couple $100 or $1,000 for the inconvenience.
For the day.
For their time, right? That's a fair exchange. Yeah, we had to round you up. We made a mistake. You're a citizen, and we categorically denounce that any American citizen be treated like
comes
this.
In from the director.
Nice letter. You know what? We
Letter of
apologize.
apology,
That's how it should go.
so it could be framed.
And I'm gonna say this: if there are American citizens that are being detained wrongfully in this process, this better actually happen. This still should happen. But that's not all that's happening. They're being obstructed, and they're being obstructed intentionally because in the chaos can come confusion, and in confusion, there's an opportunity to cash in on the political capital.
And that's what's going on.
And that's what the fuck is going on. And all of you people out there who act like you don't see it, like you don't have the intuition, you're fucking cowards.
Sending your children out
and
there.
Don't act and don't come up to me. Don't come up to me I'm just telling you, I'm forewarning you. I'm fucking warning you. Don't come up to me and pretend that it's cool, because it's not. I'm going to wear my MAGA hat. I'm supportive of President Trump removing every last illegal immigrant in this fucking country because it's the standard practice for the entire world. Your boy Barack Obama did it. Your boy Joe Biden did it. Your boy Bill Clinton did it. Go back and listen to Bill Clinton's State of the Union address in 1993. Sounds ultra right-wing in his immigration policy and position. So they did it. And don't tell me you don't like Bill Clinton anymore. Now that he was flying around with Epstein for 20 fucking years, you like Bill Clinton because you love Hillary. Don't tell me you didn't like Hillary Clinton. You loved Hillary Clinton. A lot of you guys are saying Hillary Clinton told us. I'm watching them on social media. We would have been better with Hillary Clinton for 8 years. Hillary Clinton knew what Bill Clinton was doing with Epstein. Let's be honest. Let's be real fucking clear.
Cock.
Hillary Clinton knew exactly what was going on with Bill, and she knew exactly what was going on with Epstein. She could say she didn't know about Monica, but I'd have a tough time believing that.
They didn't show up. They were subpoenaed.
Contempt of Congress.
Remember what happened
Here's
to
the contradiction.
Steve Bannon.
The great Steve Bannon went to federal prison for 6 months on a contempt of Congress But Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton think that they can
not show up,
that they can refuse to show up to testify about Jeffrey Epstein. Why do you think they believe they can refuse to show up and testify? Could it be because you all are so stupid you'll defend the Clintons no matter what? That the public approval and sentiment toward the Clintons and the Democrat elite is such that they can do whatever the fuck they want, and that's what makes you a cuck. That the Democrat Party can do and say whatever they want, and they still expect your vote, and you'll still fucking give it to them for whatever issue you use to justify that. You're a fucking cuck. And the same thing goes for Republicans. Just show me a good Democrat to vote for. Show me one. Show me one that doesn't fundamentally reject Christ. Show me one that isn't willing to tell me that Jasmine Crockett is a smart individual. Show me one that isn't willing to defend Barack Obama droning more Africans and Arabs than any of his white predecessors. Show me a Democrat like that, and I'll show you one I'll consider voting for. I'm not a partisan ideologue. I'll vote for whoever the best person is because my duty to citizenship has to be held higher than my political party. And if that's not the case, that also makes me a fucking cuck. Go ahead, Professor Penn. I'm sorry. I'm just ranting.
No. I mean, it's just we covered a lot of ground tonight for sure.
I'm just ranting. First HEBROES back. We got to do another. Let's do another one Monday. I'll let you go. I had to get shit off my chest.
Which Monday?
This coming Monday.
Okay.
Let's do another one so that you can, I want to hear what Professor Penn has to say, but I just, we
don't get to talk.
This shit is personal for me.
But you want to know, people don't realize we don't get to talk really like this unless we're sitting here, and there's been so much that's happened since the last time we talked, and you are running for Senate, and people should hear the difference between a candidate for the U.S. Senate that actually, is kind of like Frank Sinatra, doing it your own way. I mean, you're not making any concessions to the narrative. You're creating a new narrative.
Trying to.
Well, I think we're doing it. I think it's happening.
Lonely is the road.
And then it makes these other candidates just look like such ciphers to me.
Yeah.
Because every time, first of all, I've heard you use the same ideas, but I've never heard you say it the same way 2 times in a row. And I listen to these people, they got a stump speech. They say the exact same thing. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that's not too improv. Life's a little bit more challenging than having a stump speech or a preordained plan. That makes me think you sold out. And then we got the electable issue. All these electables. Oh, boy, Mike Lindell, Phil Parrott, not electable. Not electable. Well, who's making those rules up? Royce White's not electable. It's a lie. And if we don't start electing
real people
on it, what's real?
Electable. Let me keep it real. Back in the neighborhood, they used to say, "D's nuts." Remember that?
Yeah.
You know about that?
Oh yeah.
It might be a little young for your
No,
age group.
I mean it was. It's a theme song.
Electable D's nuts. Okay. Electable is what got this country in the position it's in. Now we're talking about insider political baseball and these party officers. Electable is exactly what's wrong with this country. What you're saying is you're conceding to the low-grade intelligence and intentionally and purposefully brainwashed and misinformed, propagandized by the very people who are screwing you. Don't say electable. It's an insult to your own intelligence when you say the word electable.
That means sell out in waiting. Let's change it
sell
from
out
electable.
in waiting.
Sell out in waiting.
Sell out in waiting.
Do you want to vote
Assembly
for
line.
a sellout in waiting? Because they just can't wait to sell. It's like that rabbit you were talking about.
Feral rabbit in a cage with a carrot.
And the power structure puts that carrot down there. And you know how they
Take
judge
a Sharpie.
How quick.
Take a Sharpie. You write sellout on the carrot. And I guarantee you that rabbit still takes that carrot.
You know how they get graded? How they take that carrot. That's the grade by the system.
The enthusiasm with which they sell out.
Enthusiasm, like Chief Dan George.
That's right.
My son, the only thing that matters is enthusiasm.
Right.
And for those people, it applies. Well, that's a sexual reference, but it is kind of sexual.
Yes, it is.
How big a cuck are you willing to be to get on the payroll?
Because the bigger you are, the more reliable you are.
That's sell out all the way. We want every last shred of your soul so you become a fragment. Give it up, and in exchange,
you will have many, many riches,
Many riches.
many fine things.
You don't have to carry a cross. You can give that part up. We're going to take you from nothing to something without you first sinking. You don't have to seek the kingdom of heaven. You just have to kiss this ring, right?
The world is yours.
And that's principalities and powers. And that's why we're fighting. And that's why we don't sleep. That's why we lose our hair. That's
Yep.
why we lose. And here's another thing out there for all you people in radio land. If you're a believer and you have a child, I want you to remember what it said. If you love son or daughter more than me, you're not worthy of me. I want you to remember that. How hard that is to get through. That's why it's said. If you love your mother and father more than me, you're not worthy of me. And if you find your life because you kissed that ring because you're electable, you've lost it.
Mm.
See, that book is giving us, it's right there. It's the step-by-step how to beat these people, but you got to pick up your cross. And you know what we got? Bunch of sellouts in waiting. It's kind of work to pick up that cross, isn't it? It's work. It's work. It hurts. You bleed. You suffer. Come on. Who's going to do that now? The porn is free, the chicks are free, and the money's for nothing. Just like Dire Straits sang back when I was a young man, the chicks are free,
And
the money's for nothing.
Yeah.
The Fed will just keep printing it. What a song, right? The Sultans of Swing.
The chicks are free online, and the money's infinite.
It's infinite.
Yeah.
And so now you don't have to pick up your cross. You don't have to bear it.
Yeah.
And okay, we better start getting back to fundamentals to restore the culture. Not a political issue, a personal issue. Why are you pissed off? You know, no, I'm telling you, I'm a little bit older, so I'm done being pissed off. I'm used to this shit now. Being judged for having principles. Being judged for not giving up the eternal. Losing people that I love because I won't bend my knee to lies. I won't live my life in contradiction. That's called picking up your... Because, you know, the truth will set you free sounds so good, doesn't it? No, it just sets you up to see what the hell's going on. And now, game on! Game on! Because until you give up the contradiction and seek the truth and see that we're living in hell,
You're not even playing yet.
you're not even in the game. You're sitting at home eating popcorn and entertaining yourself.
Amen.
And what did you say? Don't die, jack off.
Don't die, jerk off.
Don't die. There you go.
It's been another episode of HEBROES here on Free People Radio. Please call me crazy. Thank you for your viewership and listenership today and in the future. We got to come back Monday. Thank you, Professor Penn, for being in today. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the Professor Penn podcast, which airs on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m.
Central Time.
7 p.m. Central Time, Tuesdays and Thursdays, the Professor Penn podcast.
Follow me on X at Prof.
Follow him on
Penn
X.
Podcast.
Prof Penn podcast on X. He's on X everywhere. Put
Get
Professor
her
Penn
also.
in. Yep. Thanks for being in today, man.
Thank you.
That was fun. We got down to some shit.
Well, it was a mixed bag, but when we locked in, it was epic.
There's so much, and next we didn't even really get to the fraud, the $20 billion and the implications for the Minnesota political landscape, and the candidates and Waltz, and does he resign? He's not going to resign, but who's going to run for governor if he's not, and Amy Klobuchar, and what does that mean for the U.S. Senate seat? If Peggy Flanagan decides to, I don't know, up the ante and run for governor, what does that mean for my race? Angie Craig kind of step in as the default candidate of the Democrat on the Democrat side. Dean Phillips still out there in the cover somewhere. And he's always a huge political figure that could step into a statewide race as well. So there's a lot of people. Jesse Ventura making comments that he might make another run. Jesse's selling out at a spiritual level. Like Jesse for a long time. Jesse, we need a fucking border. But you went on down there and lived in Mexico, and that says enough in and of itself. because the gun laws down there in Mexico are more strict than anywhere else in the world, yet they have the most fucking abhorrent crime of anywhere else in the world. So, that says enough in itself. And I love the Mexican people. My grandmother came from Mexico. Mexico's a beautiful country, but it's obviously occupied by hostile forces to the Mexican people. That's why they're under such fucking, terror down there from the cooperation between cartel and corporation. Cooperation between cartels and corporations is what you see, the state of Mexico. And we'll be rolling down to Mexico as well. We'll roll on down to Mexico City the same way we rolled into Venezuela, the same way we'll roll into Cuba, the same way we'll roll up there to Montreal if people want to get froggy. And that's where we're at now. 3 poles of influence: the Americas, Europe, Asia.
And the Europeans, well, in fact, we do come back on Monday. The Europeans have made an about face. They've changed their mind. They were in with Donald Trump. They're not now.
Of course they're not.
They're moving on over. They're putting pressure on the president. They're throwing in with the Chinese as we speak.
Of course they are.
The ink is not even dry on the latest agreements.
Of course they are. Of course they're throwing in with the Chinese.
Because they were always with the Chinese.
Well, exactly right. What have I been saying for years? We are not European. We are not European. The Europeans were always opportunists.
The left. I'm talking about the organized, the corporate left.
Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, they're Eurocentric.
Oh my God, we are going to be so vulnerable
without the neocolonialists,
without the people that can't exist without our military cover,
without the colonialists.
Right.
We're going to be so vulnerable
without the white Catholic,
European colonialists,
the globalists,
without the Anglo-Saxons.
Oh, we can't exist without them.
We won't be America without the colonialists.
We're so vulnerable without these people. They're jumping up.
That's probably the greatest geopolitical contradiction of my lifetime.
It's hilarious.
White supremacy is running amok all around the world. So we have to elect Ilhan Omar in Minnesota.
Because we can't live without it.
But we can't detach from the white colonialists in Europe. It's been another...
We hit the bottom contradiction. That's great.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, you Democrat commie sellouts.
In waiting. Thanks very much, everyone.
It's been another episode. Appreciate you. We'll be back hopefully Monday. We'll do part 2 of this HEBROES episode. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning, Real America's Voice, 9 a.m. Eastern, The Royce White Show. Sunday night, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central on InfoWars with Alex Jones. I'm on all social media platforms, and right now they're running red hot. We appreciate you guys. It's been a while. I have some personal things going on, a lot with the campaign. There's a million things happening. I'm going to try and get back to doing the podcast. We'll see if we can get 3 a week to start and then go on to daily. And the Sunday call-in show is coming. That will come sooner than later. And when that comes, we hope that people will call in. And we hope that some people will call in who disagree.
Count on it.
I would love to have a live debate there on the call-in show. That would be satisfying and entertaining, I believe. So stay tuned for those things in the future. Thanks again. God bless you. Godspeed. God bless America. My final message to ICE, again, the most important task is to remove every illegal immigrant that came across under the Biden administration. But carry your task with the utmost discretion. Because until we decide that going max is the way, public approval and sentiment still counts for something. That's it for me. We'll see you guys next time. Everything's up on the bar. We're all in. We get to decide. Do you want to live on your knees, or do you want to die on your feet fighting? That's the decision you get to make now.